Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Futures with me, Anthony Crudele. On today's show, I'll be speaking with life coach and trading mentor, Dr. Mickey Hoffman, futures trader PAX Kenah, marathon whisperer and author Denise Sauriol, trader and performance coach Dan Hodgman, and last but not least, futures trader Dani Sittloh. Welcome to Trading Futures. All right, everybody, I'm joined by PAX, Dani, and Mickey. Mickey, 23 years ago, I took your class. You were the only person teaching people like PAX, Dani, and myself how to trade futures. Tell everybody the first thing that you taught us.
I think, Anthony, the first thing that I wanted people to know, or you guys to know, that it wasn't a hearing market. It was a seeing market. So if you're listening, all you hear is one sound. Yeah, everybody's yelling. But if you're seeing, you could see, if you're calm enough, you could see what each individual is doing. And there's so many things going on in one pit, different prices being traded, but you need to be able to concentrate and look instead of hear. That is a real secret.
PAX, do you remember the first thing that Mick taught you?
Second trade first. Always know my second trade first, but now that Mick just mentioned that, I've lived that my entire career. From on the trading floor, I can listen to, everything going around me, but I saw 20 different things going on all around me. And what I still talk about to this day, second trade first all the time. I have to know where I'm wrong. But the second thing is that trading is more about what we don't see than what we do see. And we always have to be mindful of that.
Matt, that's a real important word, is being mindful, because in order to be a successful trader, you must concentrate. You can't have any other thing in your mind. And it's a little bit different than when you're in a pit. When you're in the pit, you're antagonistic or working against all these other traders or brokers. And when you're by yourself, the enemy really is yourself. So you have to be calm, cool, collected, and concentrating. And mindful means you are where your feet are. You are right here, and you have to be paying attention to what's going on now, not what's going to happen or not what did happen.
This is just coming to me now. Trade what you see, not what you think. And that's the first thing that you taught us. And that was like subconsciously, I've always known that, but just thinking about it, I do remember that in the class now. And I'm with you, PAX. The first thing I remember was second trade first. It's because we still do that every single day. Dani, you're his daughter.
Yes.
So let's not talk about the first lesson he taught you as a daughter, going to be a trader. The first lesson that he taught you when you were becoming a trader.
Wow. Check in. You have to check in. Check in to somebody who is a mentor of mine, and you got to check in every day. And he tries to do it every day now, but I'm a little bit more difficult on that end. But certainly check in. Have a mentor, check in.
With Dani, I think what I learned and watched, the most important thing to be a trader, especially a successful trader, is how to handle a loss. And Dani, she was the only trader that I ever saw who was on the screen every single day, have more losses and make money every day. I've never seen anybody before or after do that, but every single day. How many did you trade? And she traded X amount, traded a lot, many more losers, but have a winning day. And then when it dried up, then it was hard to make money at all. Then she needed to stop.
PAX, Dani, we could pick Mick's brain all the time, but everybody at home can't. What's one question that you'd like to ask Mick that could help the traders at home?
Mickey, looking back on all of your careers as an educator, as a trader, and as a broker, and as an educator to traders, is there one particular characteristic that runs through every long-term successful trader?
I would say the one thought or characteristic is, in general, each person has to truly believe in themselves. No matter what they're doing, they have to believe that they can accomplish what they're setting out to accomplish, whether it's playing baseball or football or becoming a successful trader. Because it's hard to be a trader, especially in the beginning. You can't expect to make money or be successful. You just have to love what you're doing, and you have to be intent upon making sure that at some point you're going to make it. You just can't give up. And that's what I think. So it's perseverance and believe in yourself, just like you three. You believed in yourselves. You convinced me to believe in you. And then it was easy to just give you that back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, knowing you two as well as I do, that's one thing that we have is belief, right? And the one thing that I've talked about this on Twitter, it's actually at the top, it's the pinned tweet, was basically, this is who I am, right? You have so much belief in it. We passion this business so much. The only thing that carried me through the tough times was the belief that I could do it because I couldn't see myself doing anything else. This is who I am. It's who we are. Yeah. Dani, same thing I asked PAX. For everybody at home, what would be a question that they'd like to know from Mick?
Well, I think what comes to mind is how did you and how do you support a trader to stay in the game when they start to disbelief and that disbelief trickles in? How do you encourage them to stay in the game?
In speaking and spending time with all three of you, I mean, I could never anticipate how successful you would become, that Anthony would be one of the biggest screen traders maybe in the world, and Matt would be one of the biggest floor traders in the world, and Dani would be a terrific screen trader. I didn't really know that. So when we would talk or you had bad days, basically I just listened to what you had to say and made sure that you knew that you could take a day off, that you could rest, that you would have a day that didn't work out, that you could come back the next day and feel good about yourself, knowing full well that you were great traders and that you fought the fight and you weren't afraid to take losses, have a losing day, a losing week, a losing month, a losing year. I mean, in Matt's situation, and even in Anthony's, I remember, to tell me the losing day that you had was like shocking. I never knew that you would be losing that amount of money. And then Matt, of course, coming up and say, "Oh, Mick, I just lost $1.2 million." And I said, "Okay, Matt." And I didn't think anything of it because I believed in Matt. And you, Anthony, you look tired, you look beat up, but I just listened and said, you know what, let's take a little time off. Let's go back to the basics, trade small, and then we could get back to where we needed to go. And we never talked about recovering any money. We never talked about, we just talked about, here we go, let's start all over, let's do the fundamentals. In, out, second trade first. Let's start again. That's the way to go.
Everybody, this is how a mentor should be talking to you. Because PAX, let's talk about this, right? We'd come off the trading floor. A lot of traders would say, "How you doing?" They would be talking about how much money did we make today. That's all really a lot of traders talked about.
That's it.
But when you went to go see Mick, he'd say, "How you doing?" And that meant, how are you actually doing?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, Mick, how much that helped me tremendously. And back to the traders listening to this, you need to have a supporting cast like a Mick in your life, because that to me is what will really help you through the toughest times you're going to have. Because if you're not recognizing how you're doing, boy, the road to becoming a successful trader is just so much tougher.
Anth, I tell the girls, Dani and Steph, if you remember, Steffi was a broker in the NASDAQ pit. I tell them, you need more than one person. You need a staff of people that you can talk to, either physically talk to them or talk to them mentally. More than one, maybe 5 different people in your life who cared about you, loved you, and would spend time giving you advice or listening. And so you need to talk to them. If you can't see them, contact them. At least talk to them in your head and ask them the questions, and you'll hear their answers.
You know,
It's
it's
just
funny.
metaphysical.
Mick, it's funny, and it just made me think of this. I've had I've had an incredible career, and I've got, you know, I've told you this many times. I owe you so much of that, and I know what your response is going to be, so I'm going to hedge off at it. But so many times through those years, even since we've seen each other, I would ask, what would Mickey say to me? What would Mickey say to me now? You know, all right, when after the MF Global disaster, and I sat there and I sat with my notebook, myself, and my screens, what am I going to do now? What would Mick say? You know, so it's interesting that you said that, because I still do that. I still do that.
You know, Matt, Anthony, Dani, I feel so fortunate to be around how you three and how you felt about what you were doing. That gave me energy. That made me want to help more people. It's, you know, when you're around champions, it makes things easier. And you three, in my opinion, were the best of the best. And it was just fun to be around and listen to you, because you're all honest. And interesting enough, I could see your trades every day. I saw how much money you were making and or losing. I could see that. I never said that, but I did see that. So I know how successful and why you have been successful. But, you know, back to why we're all together again, you know, in terms of educators, I just want the people to know that they need to be educated by people like yourselves. There aren't more than a half dozen people who are truly wonderful, sincere, genuine, and experienced educators. You're the real deal. Other people just say, well, we traded. Most of them didn't make it in trading. I watched you three make it in trading. You were successful traders. And it was exciting to see you make the kind of money that you made. And yeah, the business changed. And you went from the floor to electronic and then to not doing much. And now I see a rekindling of the interest in trading. And I think it's a great career. But I think if somebody really wants to learn how to trade and they want the real deal and they want the truth, then they need to be associated with you in some way, because you're going to tell them the truth.
Got to surround yourself with good people, everybody. Yeah. Mick, you are right. We're seeing a resurgence of new traders coming into the industry. We've got 30 seconds left. Give them a message. What should they be focused on, the new traders out there, beginning their career as traders?
You know, Anthony, that's a tough question, and I really believe I just answered that. The easiest way to learn trading is if you have a good mentor. I mean, that shortcuts everything. It's hard to do it like yourself. It's hard to do what I did. I had to read W.D. Gann and understand the complexities and the mathematics involved. But if someone has the good fortune to hear what you have to say, then that cuts things to the chase. And then they can determine, an individual can determine whether or not they can sustain the hard times during a trading career. It's hard. It's really hard, but I believe it's a wonderful career for the right person. And you have to know if you're the right person. If you're discouraged and you just say, I can't, as opposed to, I could do it, then you can do it. But if you have a tendency to be negative on your own self, you don't believe in yourself, like I said in the beginning, tough place to be. The toughest place to be.
The toughest. Mick, what can I say? I love you. It was an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
This is a special day for me. Thank you.
Special for all of us. Dani, PAX. Great. This is just awesome. PAX, you and I aren't done yet. You want to go to the charts?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, everybody. Next up, PAX and I will talk about position sizing. Stay tuned.
This is my headquarters. This is where I trade and manage my portfolio. Since I added futures, I have access to the oil markets and gold markets. Okay. I'm plugged into equities, trade confirmed. And I have global access 24/7, meaning I can do what I need to do. Then I can focus on what I want to do. Visit your online broker today to learn more.
Welcome back, everybody. Pax and I are now at the charts to talk about position sizing. Pax, big, small, or not at all? I think I'm going to start charging you for this saying.
I did glom this saying from you, yeah. But we talk about this a lot, Anthony. This is something that all successful, long-term successful traders have in common. They know when to go big, when to go small. They know when to stop trading, not at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're a discretionary trader like you and I are, and we have our strategies, we have our systems in place, but I know that there's times I need to trade bigger, there's times I need to trade smaller, and there's times where I don't need to trade.
That's it.
So let's go over one example for you. Recently, you traded crude oil. I pulled up a 5-minute chart on TradeStation. I boxed out your opening range that you look at, and you told me this was a day that you ended up trading big.
So there's two instances here. Just out of the opening range, when we're really close to the bottom of the opening range, I'll put on a unit, and then as we come out, I will double that unit because I know exactly where I'm wrong. And if my risk is very close to my entry point, I'm comfortable doubling my size. In this case, in the first trade, I scratched the size, so it was okay. I did not lose any money. The second trade I took, the market rallied. I took a quarter off, and I locked in profit. As the market continued and it got up to my target zone, I took another quarter off. As the market expanded through that target, I put that quarter back on, including another unit. So now I've got my full 4-lot unit back on, and the market continued higher up into my next target. And that point, now I've increased my size, and I've exited at my next target. And that was a very nice trade. It worked out perfectly, and I was able to let the market tell me when to increase my size.
Well, just as you just said, the market told you. So the reason you were trading big was, and it didn't happen at your initial entry. It happened along the way. You took some off and then you added it because the market was working your way and you were getting the response you wanted.
Absolutely.
So just quickly again, when you have days like this, you said that you doubled your position. What triggered at that moment for you to say, I'm going to double my position? And also, how do you work your stop? You said that you doubled your position, but you had maybe, I don't know how many ticks you said on the stop. How did that all work?
I've got before the market opens, I already know what I'm going to do when price gets to X. When price gets to Y, I know what I'm going to be doing. So I have targets that I use in crude that are designed from my mentor Judd. And I use a 5-point wide target spread. So once we get to that target, I take a quarter of my position off. So if I'm trading in 4-lot units, I take a 1-lot off, or I take a quarter off there. And I use that 5 points as a new opening range type trade.
Gotcha.
Once we get above that, I'm going to add either that 1 unit back on that I took off for profit, or I'm going to add a whole nother unit, 2 units. So now I've got my full 4-lot size unit on.
Gotcha. So what happens is that once it gets through a major level and you've already taken some off, you're now saying, you know what, that's almost a new opening range I'm going to lean on.
That's right. And also my risk profile has not increased because my risk is only the 5 points of the 65 or 70 points that I had already locked in as profit.
Gotcha. All right. Small or not at all?
So this is a really good example. This is an S&P chart from the opening range was just 80 to 81 quarter. So my first trade, I took a full unit trade on it, and I ended up having a small loss. Second attempt, I took another full unit, another small loss, or possibly a scratch, I don't remember. Now the third attempt, I cut size. The third attempt, I cut my size in half, and I took another small loss. I give myself four chances, 4 swings at the plate here. And my fourth trade also didn't work out. So I cut my size after 2 trades by half, and after my fourth trade, either the market just wasn't trading well, or I wasn't seeing the market well, or it was a combination of the both. Either the market sucked, or I sucked, or it was a combination of both of them, which oftentimes happens.
Yeah. Well, a couple of lessons, I think, for today, right, Pax? When we're trading big, the market's giving us the reaction we want, we're doing well, we're making money.
That's right.
So we continue to trade, and we trade bigger.
That's right.
When things aren't working, like you mentioned today, got stopped out, small or not at all. The response, watch the market. It's telling you all you need to know.
The market will always tell me what I need to do. If the market will tell me when to increase size, the market will tell me when to decrease size, the market will tell me when to go for a run and go work out and sit on the bench.
Absolutely.
That day, I sat on the bench.
Love those examples. Thanks so much, Pax.
Thanks, Ant.
All right, everybody. Next up, Dan Hodgman will join me for Top Steps Moment of the Week. Stay tuned.
Why trade with TradeStation? It's innovative, easy to use, and totally freaking sweet. With powerful tools to track and execute your trades and low per trade commissions on stocks, futures, and options. Upgrade your trade at TradeStation.com. Why trade futures with TradeStation? You can trade over 80 products from home, work, or on the go. With a powerful, easy-to-use interface and prices that let you focus on padding your wallet, not emptying it. Upgrade your trade at TradeStation.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm now joined by Dan Hodgman. Dan, what's Top Steps Moment of the Week?
All right, Anthony, this one to me is really important. First off, I got a question for you. Trading during the Christmas, New Year's holiday, what do you think?
Don't ruin Christmas. I've ruined a few of them.
Right? So I want to look back, actually, what happened last year. Leading into Christmas this year, we are starting to see these markets really pushing. There have been a lot of fun this year, but I want to remind us what happened last year going into Christmas. We started to see these markets, especially these equity markets, start to sell off a little bit, leading into a lot of volatility. And so we're just going to go through a couple different equity markets here. First, we've got the S&P 500. Leading into that Christmas holiday, we saw this market start to sell off pretty drastically. December 24th making that low before it then bounced really, really quickly. So here's the S&P daily chart, and we saw the S&P range about 200 points down and up in a 1 week span. It's exciting. Sometimes we really want to be a part of that, and there's a lot of money to be made, but I can't stress the risk involved in that. There's a lot of money to be lost in these moves. Catch yourself chasing, it gets pretty drastic. So the S&P, like I said, that's $50. Every point it's moving, it can hurt you really quickly. Next, we've got the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, same exact situation, continues to push lower leading into the holidays with the big bounce right after Christmas leading into the new year. Markets were much thinner, volume was down, and allows for these markets to slip. This market moved 600 points down and back up in that 1 week span. That's $20 every point it's moving. Again, very exciting to see the moves, but the question is how much risk can you handle walking into that? And then lastly, we have the Dow. Tends to be the big boy. Everyone wants to hear the Dow. The Dow during that week, 2,000 plus points in a range in a 1 week span. And we're talking $50 every point that thing's moving. That's a lot of money on the line to be risking for the thinner, more difficult markets to be trading over the holidays.
Yeah, everybody, to clarify what I meant by ruining Christmas is you ruin your mood. Nobody's years are made during that time. Put a number on it. It's just that simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every prop firm I've been at, it's you shut down before Christmas, we come back after New Year's.
Yeah, I mean, why put all that risk on during a time of the year where everybody's chasing money a little bit anyway because you're spending money, and you come in there and you try to make it up in the market, and a lot of times it'll bite you.
Exactly. You're thinking about the money being spent. You're trying to make it back up or trading for the wrong reasons. I think that's a great point to make, along with a couple of lessons in execution here. I mentioned it, I reiterated it, and I'm going to say it again. Holidays, higher risk. Mentality is not totally there. We're thinking about everything else we have going on. That volume, markets get a lot thinner. You're going to see a lot of big institutional people stepping away. There's no sense in being there if these markets can slip as much as we just saw. And lastly, you mentioned it, it's the holidays. Go enjoy them, have some fun. Forget about the markets. They'll be there the next year.
Yeah, you made an excellent point here at the end that your mind is somewhere else. It's not on the market.
Exactly. It's a mental game. We have to fully be there when we're thinking about what am I making for dinner? Whose gifts do I still have to wrap? We get so detached from the markets that we really need to be attached to it for trading.
Great stuff this week, Dan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, everybody, Dani Sittloh will tell us what's on our radar using Wazzabull. Stay tuned.
This is my headquarters. This is where I trade and manage my portfolio. Since I added futures, I have access to the oil markets and gold markets. Okay. I'm plugged into equities, trade confirmed. And I have global access 24/7, meaning I can do what I need to do. Then I can focus on what I want to do. Visit your online broker today to learn more.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm now joined by Dani Sittloh. Dani, what's on your radar?
Hi, Anth. So today I have a momentum strategy in gold. It's a bearish alert, crosses below the 50-day moving average. I have to stress this because this is what this whole segment is about. It crosses below the 50-day moving average. It's a 4-day outlook, 62% lower, 38% higher. You have your targets here. So as a trader just starting to dabble in gold, I'm watching. I'm sometimes trading my own methodology, the opening range breakout, and then I'm watching all the alerts that come in through Wazzabull because I want to know where do these markets, what do they trade off of, what do they alert me for, and this is, for me, this is really important. So I'm just going to check the update. All right, really awesome. The probabilities are good. It hits the target in the same day and then plunges on the lower end. Okay, I feel good about taking this trade when gold crosses below the 50-day moving average. In general, I feel good. But I want you to really see is opposite of this is a momentum strategy, a bullish alert, when gold crosses above the 50-day moving average. So same indicator, opposite direction. However, gold hung around the 50-day moving average for the last month and a half. And how does it perform? So when it crossed, what I noticed is when it crossed above the 50-day moving average on the update report, it closed in the predicted direction. Well, that's good, but not good enough for me to take a trade and feel good about taking that trade. But I want to know how it behaves when it crosses above the moving average. But in the first part that I showed you, in that indicator where it crosses below, it hit the target and followed through even lower. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I feel good about taking the trade when gold crosses below the 50-day moving average at this time. In this month and a half while it's hanging around, I feel better about when it crosses below than taking a trade when it crosses above.
Lots of things to talk about
Yeah.
as to why I like what you're doing here. First of all, in a market that you're not used to, you're finding a way to learn about that market through Wazzabull with supporting statistics.
Yes.
Right? And you're not trading off of these yet, but you're watching reactions. So you're not only learning about gold, but you're learning which one of the alerts works better and in what conditions.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Right, and how long, right? So if it's going to hang around a month and a half, which side am I taking? And which side works best? And which am I most confident based upon my indicators and all the statistics in the drop-down arrows that Wazzabull gives me, if I can see that it consistently will be a profitable trade when it crosses below versus when it crosses above. At this time in the market, because you know all the external factors that play a role. Right, stock rotations in the other markets, where is capital flow, et cetera, et cetera. So this Wazzabull has been a true gift.
One thing before I let everybody go, one thing I really want to stress when you're looking at new markets, and do more of what's working and less of what's not. I talk about this all the time, right? As day traders, when I was going through my strategy, I was saying, okay, this is working for me, this isn't. Do more of it. So using Red Sky and Wazzabull, using these statistics, not just following them blind, but finding which ones work better in what conditions, do more of those.
Yes.
Which ones aren't working as well, regardless of what the percentage is showing you.
Right.
How is it trading during these situations?
Yeah, for sure.
Great work, Dani. Really love this one.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Next up and Beyond the Charts, the Marathon Whisperer will discuss doing things that you are skited about. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the show. To learn more about the charts I use, Wazzabull alerts, the basics of trading futures, and how you can even get funded to trade futures, please visit anthonycrudele.com. Now let me take you right back to trading futures. Welcome back, everybody. Mickey and Pax are still with us, and we are now joined by Marathon Whisperer and author Denise Sauriol. Denise, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Anthony.
Talk to us about the Marathon Whisperer.
Sure. So it's twofold. I help people find the courage and inspire them to sign up for their first marathon. And then once they're there, I help them see that it's so attainable, they're going to do it, and it's going to be life igniting.
Have either of you, Mick or Pax, run a marathon?
You know, Dani's been encouraging me to run a marathon. I know I can, I just haven't. I think probably I'm going to have to.
What about you, Pax?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to.
But haven't yet.
I have not yet.
I've already been whispering, so don't check back in about an hour.
Yes.
Well, talk to us about the training that you do.
Sure. So I like I said, I coach people to their first finish line, and then what happens is they cross that first finish line, just like I did. I had so much doubt and fear, and what it did for me and what I see that it does for my runners is it turns the I can't into what else can I do. So I give them a training plan. I'm basically like their cheerleader on their shoulder, and it transformed me, and it transforms them.
Sound familiar, guys? Doubt and fear?
Yeah.
No, I'm not fearful about it at all. I just haven't gotten to it. I've always loved to run, but just haven't gotten to it.
I think with the comparison a lot with traders, once they get going, a lot of them start to doubt themselves. They fear they can even do this and make money. I know that I even question, I'm like, can I really do this? And this is an interesting way, I think, to help you mentally, not only as a marathon runner and in your own life, but in your trading life. For all the traders out there, for Mick and Pax that are considering doing a marathon, what's the first step they should take?
The first thing is, first you have to want it, because it's way more mental than physical. And that want is what's going to get you out the door every day. Well, you don't need to run every day, but that want is what's going to get you out the door, and that want is what you're going to call on in the latter parts of the race when it actually starts. But it really is as methodical as taking a class. You get a syllabus, you do your homework, the race day is the final, and you can get an A or a D and you're still a marathoner, and you wouldn't take a class in biochem and have the final a week later. You have 20 plus weeks to study, and each take-home quiz on the weekend, you gain more and more confidence. And it really is, it's why we're here. It's part of the human experience, is to do things you're afraid of. Because what's on the other side is so transforming, and if you let fear win, you're missing out on that transformation. Yeah.
And so if you have a good mentor, then you can start.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that all three of us run, and I know that many traders run. Mick, why do you run?
You know, I've always loved to run. I think when no one else was doing that and I was getting ready to play football, that's the way I trained, and I wanted to be ready for the fourth quarter. I wanted to be able to score in the fourth quarter when everybody was tired.
Pax, why do you run?
I run, it helps me deal with the stress of just trading every day, and it gets me into a mindset to where I can just kind of run, go, and let go of a lot of the things that I'm carrying and just kind of get into a different mindset and release the endorphins that I need release.
Yeah, for me, focus and endurance.
Yes.
Right? It helps me in so many ways. Marathon Whisperer, runforchange.com. Talk to us where they can learn more about you.
Sure. So this is my website where you can find more information about me and my coaching. And to get your syllabus, my book is right here, and it's different than most training books for a marathon, in that the cover is a collage of 26 first-timers that I've coached, and they were just as excited about the idea of doing a marathon too. So it's 26 chapters, and each chapter kicks off with one of their stories. And then it has all kinds of tips and tricks from me running 100 marathons all over the world. And in the back, there's the training plan. So it's very inspiring and fun, and you can do it too. I can help.
100 marathons is just...
It's amazing. Denise, love your energy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Mickey, Pax, love you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Me too.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. You can catch all of the episodes on AnthonyCrudele.com, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I also want to wish all of you a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and a very Happy New Year. See you next year.